Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I have a really fun video for you. This is going to be part one of my most anticipated releases of 2021. Reason I did a part one is because I have 21 books here to talk about and it only goes through June of my most anticipated releases, and there's still more after that. So instead of creating an obscenely long video, I am going to create just kind of a video that's from January through June of the most anticipated releases that are coming out here in 2021. Now, this video may feel a little bit clunky because I'm actually using my laptop here to the side to be able to read descriptions to you, so I didn't have to remember what each book is about, and I can give you a very precise description. And also I'll be pulling up pictures of the covers on my Kindle as well. So I've got 21 tabs literally pulled up on Goodreads on my laptop for all the different books. So at least I have those ready, but I'll have to keep pulling up the pictures onto my Kindle as well. So I will do the best I can. I will not be looking at the screen a whole lot, looking directly at you that much, because I'll be looking at my computer a lot to read the description. So I apologize if this feels a little clunky, but you all know that I don't do any editing or anything, and I wanted to do it this way so that way I could be very precise about what these books are about. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to start with January. So this first book I'm going to talk about is one I've mentioned before, and I did actually recently read, and it's Across the Green Grass Fields by Sean McGuire. This is the 6th book in the Wayward Children series. It came out on January the 12th. And this one, it says, "Welcome to the Hooflands. We're happy to have you. Even if you being here means something's coming. Reagan loves and is loved, though her school friend situation has become complicated of late. When she suddenly finds herself thrust through a doorway that asks her to be sure before swallowing her whole, Reagan must learn to live in a world filled with centaurs, kelpies, and other magical equines. A world that expects its human visitors to step up and be heroes. But after embracing her time with the herd, Reagan discovers that not all forms of heroism are equal and not all quests are as they seem." So this is another portal fantasy. I absolutely adore this series. It's so fun. And a little bit of a spoiler, I loved this book. I can't wait to tell you all more about it and my thoughts on it in a wrap up, but this was so fun. But that is the first one. Again, that's on January 12th. Let me remove that tab and move on to the next one. So let me pull up this next one here. This is another one I actually recently read. I was able to get from the library, and that is Tales from the Hinterland by Melissa Albert. This is a book that's part of the Hazelwood series. It's kind of like an extra book. It's a gorgeously illustrated collection of 12 fairy tales by the author of the Hazelwood and the Night Country. Journey into the hinterland, a brutal and beautiful world where a young woman spends the night with death, brides are wed to a mysterious house in the trees, and an enchantress is killed twice and still lives. If you love grim, dark fairy tales, this is for you. You don't even have to read the series in any sort of form. You don't have to read the Hazelwood. You don't have to read the second book, The Night Country. You can just jump into this. If you like dark fairy tales, go for it. And this one came out on January 12th as well. So there's another really fun one. Okay, we still have a few more January releases here. This next one is called The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonald. Let me pull up the cover for you if I can find it. There it is. I love this cover. I think it's so fun. All right, this has kind of a long description, so I'll try to read it quickly. "There are dark forces at work in our world, and in Manchester in particular, and so thank God the Stranger Times is on hand to report them. A weekly newspaper dedicated to the weird and the wonderful, but more often the weird, of modern life. It is the go-to publication for the unexplained and inexplicable. At least that's their pitch. The reality is rather less auspicious. Their editor is a drunken, foul-tempered, and foul-mouthed husk of a man who thinks little and believes less of the publication he edits, while his staff are a ragtag group of wastrels and misfits, each with their own secrets to hide and axes to grind. And as for the assistant editor, well, that job is a revolving door, and it has just revolved to reveal Hannah Willis, who got her own set of problems. It's when tragedy strikes in Hannah's first week on the job that the Stranger Times is forced to do some serious, proper actual investigative journalism. What they discover leads them to a shocking realization that some of the stories they'd previously dismissed as nonsense are in fact terrifyingly, gruesomely real. Soon they come face to face with darker foes than they could have ever imagined. It's one thing reporting on the unexplained and paranormal, but it's quite another being dragged into the battle between the forces of good and evil. Doesn't that sound so fun? I love it. It's like this magazine that prints like kind of like hokey paranormal stories. They don't truly believe in what they're printing, and they find out the stuff that they're printing is actually real. How fun is that? That sounds so fun. And that came out on January the 14th. I think that one sounds like a stinking blast. I'm excited about it. All right, this next one looks like a fun, spooky middle grade. Let me see if I can find the cover for you. Oh, that is definitely not it. Give me just a second. There it is. It is called Karma Moon Ghost Hunter by Melissa Savage. All right, let's see what we got here. While staying in a haunted Colorado hotel for her father's ghost hunting television series, Karma Moon must battle her anxiety, interpret the signs of the universe, and get footage of a real ghost. You know, the usual. There's a lot more description than that. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. It kind of gives me hints of the Cassidy Blake series by Victoria Schwab, which is sort of like her parents have like a ghost hunting show and she's actually hunting ghosts, that kind of thing. So it sounds like a lot of fun. I love stories, middle grade stories with a paranormal twist and ghosty stuff. So much fun. So this one looks like a lot of fun as well. And that is another January release. It came out on January the 19th. So there we go. All right. I think this next one, oh, no, never mind. We've got one more January. Let's do this. This one, I believe, is a YA. The cover is gorgeous. It is called Don't Tell a Soul by Kristen Miller. All right, let's do this. People say the house is cursed. It preys on the weakest, and young women are its favorite victims. In Luth, they're called the Dead Girls. Let's see, what's this description here? Stay up all night with this modern-day Rebecca, perfect for fans of Truly Devious, a haunting story about a new girl in an old town filled with dark secrets that might just kill her. I think that's all I'm going to read. Again, the description on this one's kind of long, so I don't want to give too much, but I've never personally read Rebecca. It's one I've been wanting to read. It's a classic that I feel like's risen in popularity a lot again. A lot of people have been reading Rebecca probably because of the Netflix adaptation that recently came out. But this sounds really fun, being kind of like this Rebecca retelling, and I think it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I mean, look at that cover. It's so spooky. And this one came out on January the 26th. All right, now we can go into February. This next book is one that I actually have on hold at the library. It's ready for me to pick up right now, and I cannot wait to read it. And it is called What Big Teeth by Rose Sabo. I apologize if I butchered that last name. I don't think I said it quite right. All right, let's do this. Eleanor Zarin has been estranged from her wild family for years. When she flees boarding school after a horrifying incident, she goes to the only place she thinks is safe, the home she left behind. But when she gets there, she struggles to fit in with her monstrous relatives who prowl the woods around the family estate and read fortunes in the guts of birds. Eleanor finds herself desperately trying to hold the family together. In order to save them all, Eleanor must learn to embrace her family of monsters and tame the darkness inside her. Exquisitely terrifying, beautiful, and strange, this fierce gothic fantasy will sink its teeth into you and never let go. This one sounds fantastic. I don't know, maybe if we're dealing with like werewolves and there might be some like witches and stuff involved. It could be vampires. I don't know. I think it sounds so much fun. This probably would be a great book to read in the fall, but it actually came out on February the 2nd. So that one sounds really fun. I love this cover too. It's really like creepy haunting, but like, I don't know. I like the art style. I think it's really, really fun. This next one is going to be a new series that Disney's putting out that sounds so interesting to me. It is called City of Villains by Estelle Laurie. Look at this. Also, who's that, y'all? Yeah, that's right. That's Maleficent. All right, let's jump into this description because this sounds like so much fun. Mary Elizabeth Hart is a high school senior by day, but by night, she's an intern at the Monarch City Police Department. She watches with envy from behind a desk as detectives come and go, trying to contain the city's growing crime rate. For years, tension has simmered between the city's wealthy elite and their plans to gentrify the decaying neighborhood called the Scar, once upon a time the epicenter of all things magic. When the daughter of one of the city's most powerful businessmen goes missing, Mary Elizabeth is thrilled when the chief actually puts her on the case. But what begins as one missing person's report soon multiplies, leading her down the rabbit hole of a city in turmoil. There she finds a girl with horns, a boyfriend with secrets, and what seems to be a sea monster lurking in a poison lake. As the mystery circles closer to home, Mary finds herself caught in the fight between those who once had magic and those who will do anything to bring it back. This dark and edgy YA series explores the reimagined origins of Maleficent, Ursula, Captain Hook, and other infamous Disney villains like you've never seen before. It sounds like so much fun. I love villain origin stories, and I think this is going to be a blast. I know they had a series going on for a while now that was like kind of retellings of some of famous fairy tales, which I've been wanting to read some of them, and I haven't gotten a chance to yet. Eventually, hopefully soon in the near future. But this, I'm really excited about this. Just taking all the classic Disney villains and putting a cool spin on it. And it's got like this Gotham City Batman vibe. I am for it. That one comes out on February the 2nd as well. So it's already out, you guys. Okay. Let's jump to the next one. This one, I'm not sure, I think is an adult fantasy. And let me find the cover for this one. Hold up, there it is. All right, it's called The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. I'm sorry again if I did not pronounce this right. Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things in T.L. Huchu's The Library of the Dead, a sharp contemporary fantasy following a precocious and cynical teen as she explores the shadowy, magical underside of modern Edinburgh. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, when a child goes missing in Edinburgh's darkest streets, young Ropa investigates. She'll need to call on Zimbabwean magic as well as her Scottish pragmatism to hunt down clues. But as shadows lengthen, will the hunter become the hunted? When ghosts talk, she will listen. This sounds fun. I love things set in Edinburgh. I would love to go sometime. There's so much like history there, and I know there's a lot of like ghost stories and legends there as well, and I think this is going to be really fun. There is more description here, but I'm not going to read it because I think that's a good enough catch there. I love it. So this one, let's see, when did this one come out? This one came out, oh no, okay, it says February 4th. Okay, sorry, for a second I saw June 1st. It's February 4th is when it comes out. So I'm very excited about that one. That one looks like so much fun. All right, this next one I'm not going to give a huge description because it is the 6th book in a series. Not unlike the Wayward Children. Wayward Children, their books are kind of separate in a way. You can read them separately and it'd be fine. This one is actually like a 6th book in a recurring series, and that is The Desolations of Devil's Acre, by Ransom Riggs. This is the 6th book in the Peculiar Children series. If you hadn't heard of this series before, it's all about these kids have these peculiar powers or peculiarities. Like one of the girls can have fire come out of her hands. There's another person who's light as air and has to wear like weighted shoes because she's so lightweight. There's another boy who can control like bees. It's lots of weird stuff. I absolutely love it. It's dark and spooky, and also Ransom Riggs uses a lot of old photographs to help tell his tale, which is a lot of fun. So there's lots of like creepy looking old photographs like this one on the cover here throughout the book. So it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend this series. It's a great time. This is the 6th book in the series, and this one comes out on February the 23rd. So we just have to wait a little bit longer until it comes out. I'm really excited about that one. All right, now we're moving on to March. This is another sequel that I have definitely pre-ordered. I cannot wait for it to come in the mail on the day that it comes out, and that is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is the 3rd book in the Cassidy Blake series. I'm not going to tell you exactly what this book is about, except for the fact that it does take place in New Orleans. In this story, we're following this girl named Cassidy Blake, and her parents actually are hosts of a ghost hunting TV show, and she goes along with them to these different locations. The first one was in Edinburgh, the second one was in Paris, and now this one's going to be in New Orleans. And her parents they don't necessarily truly believe in ghosts, but Cassidy Blake can actually see ghosts. And in fact, her best friend is a ghost, and she goes through all sorts of spooky paranormal experiences as she travels with her parents to these different locations. So I'm really excited about this third one. This is probably one of my favorite series right now. I absolutely adore it. It's middle grade, it's paranormal, and it's great. And this one comes out on March 2nd, so soon. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I'm so pumped. It was supposed to come out last year, I think in August or September, and it had to be pushed, so I'm very, very excited for it getting to come out very soon. All right, let's go on to the next one. It's also coming out on March the 2nd, and this one has such a gorgeous cover. It's called The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. A female apothecary secretly dispenses poisons to liberate women from the men who have wronged them, setting 3 lives across centuries on a dangerous collision course. I don't think I need to say anything else. There's more information, but you know what? That sounds kind of cool. It's an apothecary that secretly dispenses poisons. That sounds twisted and spooky, and I love it. I'm assuming maybe, oh yeah, okay, it says it starts in 1791, and it looks like maybe it moves through time. So I think it sounds really, really cool. Gorgeous cover, maybe some just like, I don't know, probably murdery vibes. So if you like that, it comes out on March 2nd as well. So that one sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, this next one sounds very much outside of my normal range of reading, but I was hooked by the description. It's called The Babysitter, My Summers with a Serial Killer. It's a chilling true story, part memoir, part crime investigation, reminiscent of Anne Rule's classic The Stranger Beside Me, about a little girl longing for love and how she found friendship with her charismatic babysitter, who was also a vicious serial killer. That sounds really fun and also terrifying. So it's got a really long description here, but it sounds like it's basically about this girl who has a male babysitter that she ends up becoming kind of friends with and she really cares about. And I think later on in life, she finds out that this person was actually a serial killer, which is terrifying. I don't know. It sounds really interesting. I don't really read a lot of whole like true crime type stuff, but I think it's going to be really kind of spooky and, dare I say, fun. I feel bad saying fun, but it sounds fun. This one's coming out on March 2nd as well. So sounds like a good time. Okay, this next one is one that I found out very recently, and I'm really excited about it because it's by Jodi Lynn Anderson. And I love Jodi Lynn Anderson's books, and she's coming out with this new middle grade series called 13 Witches, The Memory Thief. I think it sounds like a good time. Let's see. I'm trying to decide what I want to read here. From acclaimed and New York Times bestselling author Jodi Lynn Anderson comes the fantastical and heartfelt first installment in a new trilogy about the 13 witches who are responsible for all the evil in the world and the girl who sets out to defeat them. Full of magic and bittersweet truths, this tale is perfect for fans of The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which has been a super popular middle grade book that I have not yet read, but I do own and I can't wait to read. There is a long description here, but I feel like that's a really good snippet to kind of know what it's about, more or less. I really love Jodi Lynn Anderson. I love her books because she kind of reminds me of, oh my goodness, the name of the author, Jonathan Aucier. She kind of reminds me of him because she is really good at writing fantasy it's got some good vibes in it to where it's like fantasy and it can have some really heartfelt things, but it has a lot of heavy and darkness. It's like fantasy with shadows, and I really enjoy that and appreciate that, having stories that have some darker sides of life in it too. So I'm really excited about this one. Again, I just recently heard about it, and that comes out on March 2nd as well. So lots of really good books coming out on March 2nd. This next one, boy howdy, I'm excited about. It's called Sing Me Forgotten by Jessica S. Olsen. How long is this description? It's not too bad. All right. Cast into a well at birth for being one of the magical few who can manipulate memories when people sing, she was saved by Cyril, the opera house's owner. Since that day, he has given her sanctuary from the murderous world outside. All he asks in return is that she use her power to keep ticket sales high and that she stay out of sight. For if anyone discovers she survived Isda and Cyril will pay with their lives. But Isla breaks Cyril's cardinal rule when she meets Emmerich Roden, a charming boy who throws her quiet, solitary life out of balance. His voice is unlike any she's ever heard, but the real shock comes when she finds in his memories hints of a way to finally break free of her gilded prison. Haunted by this possibility, Ilsa spends more and more time with Emmerich, searching for answers in his music and in his past. But the price of freedom is steeper than Isda could ever know, for even as she struggles with her growing feelings for Emmerich, she learns that in order to take charge of her own destiny, she must become the monster the world tried to drown in the first place. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because it takes place in an opera house. It reminds me of Phantom of the Opera. It's got that vibe to it, and I'm excited about it. I like the idea of music being used as magic or like a weapon. I think it sounds really interesting, and I'm kind of hoping it has the Phantom of the Opera vibes that it sounds like it has. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That one is coming out on March the 9th. So fun times. All right, let's keep this moving. I'm already 20 minutes in and I still have several books left. So let's get this cracking. The next one is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas. When children go missing, people want answers. When children go missing in the small coastal town of Astoria, people look to Wendy for answers. It's been 5 years since Wendy and her two brothers went missing in the woods, but when the town's children start to disappear, the questions surrounding her brother's mysterious circumstances are brought back into the light. Attempting to flee her past, Wendy also almost runs over an unconscious boy lying in the middle of the road and gets pulled into the mystery haunting the town. Peter, a boy she thought lived only in her stories, claims that if they don't do something, the missing children will meet the same fate as her brothers. In order to find them and rescue the missing kids, Wendy must confront what's waiting for her in the woods. So it sounds like a nice, dark fairy tale kind of vibe. It honestly kind of sounds like maybe it has some Peter Pan vibes twisted in there with the fact that the main character is named Wendy. There's a boy named Peter. There's a lot of lost boys. You get it? It sounds very Peter Pan-ish. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping it has as many Peter Pan vibes as it sounds like it does. And this comes out on March the 23rd. So put that one on your calendars. All right, we're moving on to April now. This one has another gorgeous cover that kind of reminds me of Wilder Girls a little bit, and it's called House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. Let's find out what this one's about. All right. This one's got a relatively long description, but let's go ahead and jump in. 17-year-old Iris Hollow has always been strange. Something happened to her and her two older sisters when they were children. Something they can't quite remember, but that left each of them with an identical half-moon scar at the base of their throats. Iris has spent most of her teenage years trying to avoid the weirdness that sticks to her like tar. But when her eldest sister Gray goes missing under suspicious circumstances, Iris learns just how weird her life can get. Horned men start shadowing her, a corpse falls out of her sister's ceiling, and ugly, impossible memories start to twist their way to the forefront of her mind. As Iris retraces Gray's last known footsteps and follows the increasingly bizarre trail of breadcrumbs she left behind, it becomes apparent that the only way to save her sister is to decipher the mystery of what happened to them as children. Sounds like fun. Sounds like someone who went through some dark, weird, creepy, maybe fantastical things and doesn't remember them and then has to remember them to find her sister. Sounds really cool. It's a young adult book. I'm excited about it. I think it sounds really spooky and fun and cool. It sounds like a mystery. I love it. Fun times. That one comes out on April the 6th. So another good one. Okay, this next one, actually now that I'm looking at it, I don't really remember what this one's about, so I'll be probably learning as I read the description here. It's called Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Christina Henry wrote one of my favorite books of 2020, which was Lost Boy, which is a Captain Hook origin story retelling, and it's fantastic. If you haven't read it, it's so good, so good. So I'm excited to kind of read something else by Christina Henry. There's a few other books I've read by her, but I've kind of been but some of them have been really, really good. So I'm excited about this new one here. It says, a woman trapped on a mountain attempts to survive more than one kind of monster in a dread-inducing horror novel from the national best-selling author Christina Henry. Maddie can't remember a time before she and William lived alone on a mountain together. She must never make him upset. But when Maddie discovers the mutilated body of a fox in the woods, she realizes that they're not alone after all. There's something in the woods that wasn't there before, something that makes strange cries in the night, something with sharp teeth and claws. When three strangers appear on the mountaintop looking for the creature in the woods, Maddie knows their presence will anger William. Terrible things happen when William is angry. It sounds really spooky. Ah! This sounds like it'd be a good one to read in the winter, being kind of like in the mountains. The picture looks very wintry. Yeah, it's like a snowy cabin and everything. So I think this one would be really spooky and fun. I didn't realize it was a horror, so yes, please. It is coming out on April the 13th. Fun times. If you notice, a lot of the books I have on here are kind of spooky or paranormal. That's my jam. So if you've been around this channel that much, those kind of books are my jam. I love them. All right. Speaking of spooky and paranormal sounding things, we have this book here called The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie, oh my goodness, Moldovsky. I'm sorry, I butchered that so bad. Okay, new girl Rachel Chavez is eager to make a fresh start in Manchester Prep, but as one of the few scholarship kids, Rachel struggles to fit in, and when she gets caught up in a prank gone awry, she ends up with more enemies than friends. To her surprise, however, the prank attracts the attention of the Mary Shelley Club, a secret club of students with one objective: come up with the scariest prank to orchestrate real fear. But as the pranks escalate, the competition turns cutthroat and takes on a life of its own. When the tables are turned and someone targets the club itself, Rachel must track down the real-life monster in their midst, even if it means finally confronting the dark secrets from her past. Spooky. I'm excited about that. That looks like fun. It's a really creepy looking cover too. Comes out on April 13th as well. All right, I've got 3 more books. Hang in with me. You got this. If you're still here, thank you. You are awesome. Let's move on. Okay, this next one is going to be in May, and I think I've talked about this one before, possibly. It's got a really gorgeous, interesting cover. It's called The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. This one, I believe, is a sci-fi, so let's find out what it's about. C awoke on an abandoned island 3 years ago with no idea of how she was marooned. She only has a rickety house, an old android, and a single memory. She has a sister, and C needs to find her. STEM prodigy Casey wants to escape from the science and home she once trusted. The Eco-City, Earth's last unpolluted place, is meant to be sanctuary for those committed to planetary protection, but it's populated by people willing to do anything for refuge, even lie. Now she'll have to decide if she's ready to use science to help humanity, even though it failed the people who mattered most. Oh, sorry about the glare. I was tipping this. This sounds really cool, and honestly very vague too, which I kind of like. I am interested in getting into a little bit more sci-fi, and this sounds like it's got like this sci-fi kind of feel to it. It's a YA book. I don't know. I'm interested. I think it sounds really cool, and the cover really draws me in. This one comes out on May the 4th. So another good one. All right, that's the only one in May that I have that I'm anticipating. I've got 2 here in June, so let's go ahead and finish this up. This next one is it's not a continuation of a series. If you've heard of the series Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, that is a mystery trilogy. It's a YA trilogy. I love it. It's so good. It's very atmospheric, great mystery. It's a lot of fun. And it deals with the main character who struggles with anxiety, which was a really cool representation that I appreciated. But this came out of the blue. I'm very excited about it because it sounds like a start to a brand new mystery, and it's called The Box in the Woods. It's labeled as Truly Devious number 4, but it's starting a new mystery. It says a Truly Devious series continues as Stevie Bell investigates her first mystery outside of Ellingham Academy in this spine-chilling and hilarious standalone mystery. I'm just going to say that, just in case there's any spoilers within the description for the original trilogy. But I'm really excited about this. I'm excited that it's still going to focus on Stevie as the main protagonist, who is the main protagonist from the original trilogy. So I think this is going to be fun. I had no idea this was coming out, and I think it's going to be great. Also, the name makes me laugh because it always makes me think, what's in the box? Anyways, this one comes out on June 15th. So I think this one's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited to continue this series. All right, this last one is also a continuation in a series as well. I'm blanking out all of a sudden on the name of the book. Oh, A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik came out in 2020. It is a story about a girl who is in a magic school, and this particular magic school, it's not like Hogwarts. There are no teachers. They go there and they have to basically teach themselves, but there are monsters within the school that are trying to kill them and eat them. And they have to try to make it through their education and make it out alive to graduate. That's a terrible description. I'm so sorry. But it's hard to explain, to be perfectly honest. The second book in the series is coming out on June 29th. It's called The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. A budding dark sorceress determined not to use her formidable powers uncovers yet more secrets about the workings of her world and the stunning sequel to A Deadly Education, the start of Naomi Novik's groundbreaking crossover series. So I really enjoyed the first one. The writing style didn't connect with me always. However, I did really, really enjoy it in the end. I'm glad I pushed through to get to the end, and I'm excited to see what happens because it felt cliffhangery to me at the end of the first one. I'm excited to see what happens in the second one. It's just such an interesting and different style of a magic school. It's very dark. I believe it's an adult series. Well, I don't know. It's actually labeled as young adult, but there's some adult. I don't know. I feel like it has a lot more adult themes. I don't feel like it's necessarily really pushed towards YA, but it's a really interesting series. So if you're interested in magic school, and maybe if you've read some stuff by Naomi Novik before, she wrote Spinning Silver and Uprooted. I personally did not enjoy Uprooted. I hated it. I have not read Spinning Silver, so I was a little bit anxious about trying A Deadly Education, and I actually ended up really liking it. So that's the last one. That one comes out on June 29th. If you are still hanging in here, please put an emoji down of like a stack of books just to let me know you made it through this video. I hope this video was informative. I apologize that it's a little clunky because I don't do any editing, but I'm hoping that you were able to get the information you needed from all these books. I hope some of them are ones you haven't heard of before because a lot of people have been doing anticipated releases of videos, and I'm hoping some of these are ones that are new to you that you're like, oh, hey, I didn't know that was coming. That sounds really cool. So those are all those books. If you've heard of any of these before and are also excited about some of these books, let me know down below. Also, let me know what your most anticipated release is. That's a good one. What's your most anticipated release of 2021? I would love to know down below. I will put together in the future, probably closer to the middle of the year, another video about other books that I'm excited about for the rest of the year. But on this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel, follow me on my book journey. On this side of the video over here is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading. Bye!